Good afternoon, and in today's episode of Andy's Gardening in Southeast Georgia, we've had such a nice crop, Beverly, if you can put that here, of cucumbers, that we're going to share our secret family recipe of how to make delicious deli-style fresh pickles. This recipe was from made from a friend of mine in Carrollton, Georgia, named Dick. He's a very nice gentleman. He's probably a little old now if he's still around. He gave me this nice recipe for Hungarian deli kosher pickles. What you'll need is about 20 nice size cucumbers, pickling cucumbers like these, and you should come from your garden because they have to be very, very fresh. And you rub and get the spines off of them, and you wash them off and get those little spines off of them. Sometimes we get some deformed ones like these, but these still make good pickles. Sometimes you get them that are too big. Try not to use too many of these. Once they start getting yellow, they get too seedy. But even that one's a little bit big, but that'll be a delicious pickle. So you need about 25 or 30, enough to fill up a 1 gallon jar of these cucumbers. You'll also need a nice bunch of fresh dill that you'll chop up real fine. You'll need a third of a cup, what's the thing called? Measuring cup. And you'll put white vinegar. You need a third of a cup of white vinegar and a third of a cup of coarse kosher salt. And you'll need garlic, and you'll need kosher rye bread.
Go.
Okay, in making of your pickles, I'll go through everything, but you got to get a toothpick, or I use a little ice pick like this, and I prick each pickle, each cucumber, about 1 inch on either side, and dump them in the jar like that. So the first thing I put in here is a third of it. By the way, since we keep kosher, and these are kosher dills, I'm gonna throw in some words about making them kosher, some terms that you may or may not understand. But if you do keep kosher, I'll throw in some terms. Obviously, everything here, all the ingredients have an OU, kosher ingredients, and the vegetables are fresh out of the garden, so they're all kosher. This is kosher salt here, coarse kosher salt, and I just put a third of a cup of plain white vinegar in this jar. Now I put a third of a cup of kosher salt in the jar. And the next thing I'm going to put in is a third of a cup, or about a whole bunch of this dill here. I've already chopped some of it up, and just the way that you do this, just take your nice knife. We have a nice carved knife here, and we cut it all up like that and finely chop it like that. I kind of put it all together and do it like that. Luckily, these pickles don't care how good you do. The more you chop it up, the finer it is, the quicker it'll get into the flavor of the pickle. Then the next thing we add is garlic. I like a lot of garlic. Some people don't like so much, so to your taste. Since I do not have a carved thing to smash the garlic with, and garlic is one of those sharp vegetables that you don't want to use a meat or a dairy knife if you're keeping kosher. We use this knife, and I put it in wax paper, nice heavy coating of wax paper, and I crush like that each of the pieces of garlic in there, and then it comes out kind of like that. And then I take this little carved knife here and kind of cut it up a little bit so it'll be opened up, and that nice garlic flavor will get right into your pickles. Just take this guy like this and dump them in there like that. Get all of it, especially the little pieces, because they're good. All the flavors in those little pieces. Okay. Little pieces. So you've got your salt, you've got your vinegar, you've got your dill weed in there, all chopped up, and your garlic. Now you're going to start putting your cucumbers in. I like to put these have all been pre-pricked on the side, so they're all ready to go. And I like to put the bigger ones on the bottom because they'll need a little more extra time for curing, and I put the smaller ones on top because those are the ones I want to eat first. I got enough here for probably 2 gallons, but now I'll start putting in these little beautiful This is a perfect size pickling cucumber right here, about 3 or 4 inches long. This is another nice one. And just put them in there, keep going. Handfuls of them, these have all been prepared and washed. These are about, this is the product of about, with the garden my size, and you saw my garden on the previous video, this is about 3 days worth of growth here, 2 or 3 days worth of growth. And it's been kind of dry here, so you're always going to get some crazy looking cucumbers, like something like this. This is because the weather hadn't been good. It's been, and we've had to irrigate, so it doesn't get a good irrigation like natural rain would. Natural rain is still the best thing for your vegetables in your garden. So you stuff them all in here and get them down in there pretty good. You don't mash them, you don't break them, but get them all stuffed in there. Room for another couple. And I like the real little tiny ones on top, because when it comes time to test them and see if they're done, you don't have to eat a whole big giant cucumber, just one little small. Okay, now fill this up with water. Beverly, follow me over here. This is a little bit more of a difficult task. Never works right. Fill this up with water. I like to fill it about 3/4 of the way and put the top on, just shake it up a little bit, get all the ingredients moving around in there. Get that stuff, that salt and stuff off the bottom, get all that kind of moving around evenly in there. Then I fill it up the rest of the way with the water. Okay, you got to fill with water now. Now for the secret ingredient, a piece of kosher rye bread. And we take this rye bread and fold it in and sit it on top. People ask me, why bread? What does bread do? I tell you the truth, I don't know, but it makes it work. I think because it has yeast in it, it starts the pickling process. We put a piece of this stuff here, clean cellophane wrap. What's this stuff called? Saran wrap. Put this on top of it, and we take a rubber band, which Beverly will hand me. My wife is not, my regular photographer, Sherry, is not here, but my wife is, my daughter Beverly, who is in law school, and she's a very nice, beautiful young lady. And figuring out how to edit this on the computer is my son Bernie. So he's the editor, technical consultant. And here you have a 1-gallon jar ready to be sat out in the sun for pickling. And we're going to walk outside and I'll show you what to do. This is my curing area for my cucumbers. You sit this jar in Savannah in the middle of summer, as hot as it is now. You take and sit this thing right like that, and each day, every morning, you come out and turn it about 1/3 of a turn or 1/4 of a turn, and then in 3 days it'll be done. Maybe 4 days, according, if you like them real well done, 4 days, maybe 5 days. If you like them like half done, 2 to 3 days if it's really hot. But I'll come out tomorrow and I'll turn it 1/3 of a turn, and the next day 1/3 and a third. After 3 days out here, they're about the way my family likes them, which is half done, 4 days, a little bit more done. I thank you for watching this video, and all the vegetables I use in my videos to show you how to use them come straight out of our garden out there. If you can show them a picture of the garden, Beverly. It's been kind of dry the last 3 weeks, so we're having trouble irrigating, but everything's still producing nicely. And the next video we'll make in a few days. Our tomatoes are starting to come in and our hot peppers are in. We're going to make salsa and show you how to make a delicious salsa.